3 spine-chilling true accounts of sinister home intrusions that exposed haunted secrets. Lisa blinked hard against the darkness that surrounded her modest home in Elmwood. It had been 3 months since her divorce, yet the familiar creaks of her house felt like ghostly whispers, echoing reminders of an unhappy past. Each evening, as she served chicken casserole and listened to Ethan and Mia laugh, her heart fluttered with a mix of joy and fear. But tonight, something felt off. A shadow flickered outside, skimming the edges of her peace. "Mama, what's that?" Mia asked, her wide eyes glued to the door. Lisa glanced back and saw only a sliver of moonlight bathing their little garden. Shaking her head, she tried to dismiss her unease. "Just the wind, sweetheart." But the wind didn't have a name. It didn't creep through the cracks, and it didn't leave strange chillings in the air. Mr. Harris, the neighbor next door, had been particularly generous lately. "Need any help?" he'd ask with that unsettling smile that lingered too long. Most neighbors mowed their lawns. Mr. Harris appeared like he was mowing into the very fabric of their daily lives, as if knitting strands of their existence with one insidious thread. The night grew thicker, and a tension seemed to pulse in the darkness. As Lisa tried to focus on dinner, the house creaked ominously. It was as if the walls were complaining under the weight of the secrets they held. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. With a sudden crash from the kitchen, Lisa jumped. "Ethan, Mia, stay right here." Her heart thundered as she reached for a baseball bat stashed in the hallway. Each step toward the kitchen felt like walking a mile in quicksand. The air thickened around her like an unwelcome fog. Shadows danced behind her, but it was just her imagination, she thought, trying to keep calm. Yet when she swung the kitchen door open, a chilling emptiness greeted her except for the overturned chair, the cereal box poised dangerously at the edge of the counter. A wave of nausea rolled through her. Someone had been here, fighting against panic. She stepped back, but before she could escape, the doorbell rang sharply. "Lisa. You okay?" It was Mr. Harris, brimming with concern, his eyes glinting. Those same eyes that seemed to gleam with something deeper. Something sinister? Just. A little surprise, Lisa stammered, backing away, gripping the bat harder. He stepped closer. "I'm just checking in, you know. Always nearby if you need anything." Lisa's spine stiffened. "Thank you, but we're fine." The breeze stirred uneasily outside, rattling the windows. She closed the door, locking it like a fortified shield. But the shadows whispered again. They tore at her heart, haunted and raw. Ethan's voice echoed softly, a distant reminder, "Stay awake, Mama." Heart pounding, Lisa moved up the stairs with each step heavier than the last, sensing someone, or something, lurking just out of sight. Something was waiting, and she was about to find out just how deep the horror ran beneath her suburban facade. As she gripped the banister tight, the last remaining shred of her sanctuary hung by a thread. She heard him. Mr. Harris's voice whispered her name softly from below, and she froze. What did he know about her life? What had he seen? Shivers ran down her spine as she prepared to confront the mystery that was unraveling right before her. Her breath quickened as she reached the top of the stairs, knowing that tonight, like never before, her fragile fortress could come crashing down. Lisa stood at the top of the stairs, the air thick with tension. Below her, the creaking floorboards protested against her indecision as the anxiety twisted inside her chest like a vice. Mr. Harris's voice drifted up, smothered by the darkness, twisting around her like a vine. "Lisa. I'm right here. You don't have to hide." She wanted to scream, but her throat felt dry, tight, as if the house itself was swallowing her words. Instead, she kept her grip on the bat, its weight reassuring yet foreign. She edged forward, each step a battle against the fear that surged through her. "Mama? What's happening?" Ethan's voice pulled at her, small and innocent from the safety of their room, unaware of the shadow creeping just outside their door. "Stay inside," she called back, her heart racing. She wasn't just fighting for herself anymore. The need to protect her children wrapped around her fears like barbed wire. Each breath felt labored as she took one more cautious step down the staircase, her pulse echoing in her ears. As she reached the last step, she hesitated. The living room was an abyss, shadows pooling in every corner. The front door stood ajar, swaying slightly in the breeze, an ever-so-tempting invitation into the dark. She mustered her courage and stepped forward, the wood flooring groaning beneath her. "Lisa, come outside. Let's talk." Mr. Harris's voice slipped through the crack in the door, smooth and enticing, like honey drenching her senses. Each word oozed a dark promise, sending ice crawling down her spine. She could sense the weight of his gaze pressing against her skin, clawing at her resolve. Was it just her imagination, or was there something lurking among the shadows of her home? A flicker of movement across the window pulled her attention, and she turned, breath catching in her throat. A figure darted past, too quick to confirm, but enough to ignite her instincts. "Mama!" Mia called again, panic knitting into her voice. "Shh. Stay quiet," Lisa whispered fiercely, clamping her hand over her mouth. She felt a surge of otherworldly cold. Something was in the house, something that wanted her to let down her guard. Pushing through her fear, she made her way to the front door. The plan came crashing down when she was met with the sight that stopped her in her tracks. Mr. Harris stood outside, his face framed by the darkness, features starkly illuminated by the porch light. But it wasn't just concern painted on his face, there was something more, an eagerness that sent a chill down her spine. "What are you doing?" she asked, trying to sound authoritative, but her voice trembled, betraying her. "Just checking on you, Lisa," he mumbled, tilting his head slightly, eyes sharp like shards of glass. But at that moment, another noise rang out, a muffled thump from upstairs, sending her heart into a frenzy once more. It was the unmistakable sound of movement, footsteps scuttling hurriedly. "Wait," Lisa began, but as she turned to head back inside, the man's hand shot forward, blocking her path. "Let's not be hasty now," he said, his voice dripping with faux sweetness. Lisa's heart raced as the walls seemed to close in around her. Every instinct screamed at her to flee, but the children, she couldn't leave them. She took a step back, trying to slip past him, but he remained in her path, a predator poised to strike. Panic surged, igniting every nerve as she became acutely aware of the darkness that surrounded her, cloaked, waiting for her to make a mistake. "What do you want from me?" she gasped, her voice cracking under the strain. A predatory grin spread across Mr. Harris's face, and he leaned closer, whispering just before she bolted. "To help you see what's truly lurking in your home." In that moment, the line between security and horror blurred, leaving Lisa caught in a nightmare that had just begun. As her heart thudded with primal fear, she turned on her heel, sprinting toward the stairs again. Footsteps echoed behind her. A scream lodged in her throat as she reached the second floor. She could no longer tell what was real and what was a figment of her terror. With one quick glance back, she saw the door still ajar, the darkness beyond it beckoning, and she bounded into the children's room, slamming the door just as a breathy laugh slipped through the crack, a promise of what was yet to come. What other horrors waited in the shadows, hidden just outside her view? The fabric of her life was fraying, and there was no telling how much longer she could hold on. The door felt solid against her back, but Lisa knew better than to trust it. It was just wood, a flimsy barrier against the unseen. Mia and Ethan huddled in the far corner, wide-eyed and crying, their innocence cruelly tainted by fear. Their small room became a sanctuary forged by desperation, but Lisa could feel her defenses weakening. "Is it the monster again?" Ethan whined, his voice tremulous. "Hush," Lisa whispered, moving to kneel beside them, wrapping her arms tightly around their trembling forms. The warmth she could give them felt like a flimsy shelter against the chill creeping into her bones. "Just stay quiet. I'll keep you safe." But deep inside, she felt the penetrating weight of dread. The laugh that escaped Mr. Harris, slithering through her mind like smoke, wrapped around her thoughts. It wasn't just him outside, it was something more, something lurking in the very walls that had once felt like home. A sudden crash from downstairs made her jump, the soft whimpering of her children sharply piercing her heart. She inhaled sharply, glancing at the door as if it might provide answers. Shadows danced against the faint light coming from the window, and her mind raced. What if it wasn't just Mr. Harris lurking? What if the darkness was hungry, ready to devour her whole? "Stay here," she hissed suddenly, pulling away and standing. She had no idea if she could keep the kids hidden, but she had to try. Her feet moved without her consent, driven by the gnawing impulse to confront whatever was out there. "I'll be back. Mommy!" Mia screamed, terror rolling over her delicate features like thunderclouds. But Lisa pressed her hand against the door, summoning enough courage to open it just a crack. The hallway stretched like a never-ending void. The shadows twisted, seemingly alive, eager to swallow her. Clenching her bat tightly, she pushed the door wider and stepped into the gloom. "Mama?" Ethan's voice trembled, but she ignored him. She had to know. With each cautious step, creaks echoed, mocking her stillness. The air felt heavier, the familiar scent of home turned acrid. She intensified her focus and let the bat lead her through the suffocating silence. As she reached the top of the stairs, the faint sound of whispering drifted up. Was it just her imagination? Or was it something more sinister? Peering over the railing, everything below was coated in darkness, punctuated only by flickers of light dancing through the broken windows. "Come find us," Lisa, the voice cooed, tauntingly familiar. She recoiled, heart racing. The voice sent shivers through her limbs, and a sense of despair gripped her throat. The ethereal quality of it stirred her memories, the whispers from the kids' stories, tales that interwove tragedy with comfort that now twisted into horror. She had once filled their minds with warmth, but now it was all unraveling. Abruptly, she noticed a shadow stretching unnaturally across the wall, its shape moving closer, gliding towards the staircase. It was elongated, shifting. Her breath hitched, every ounce of instinct telling her to retreat, but she stood paralyzed. "Mama!" Ethan's soft voice broke through the terror, grounding her. The shadow loomed closer, resembling something far from human, something more primal. "No!" she gasped, snapping out of her trance. She had to move. She spun and raced back, guilt clawing at her. Leaving the children felt wrong, but she needed to confront this thing, to protect them. As she dashed back into their room, she barely managed to slam the door shut. The echo of it reverberated through her, and desperation washed over her, but as she turned, the weight of reality crashed back in. The room felt smaller, suffocating. "Everything is going to be okay," she lied, holding her children close, until she noticed a dark figure now standing just on the other side of the door. It loomed silently, and the whispering returned, sharper this time, inviting. "I know you're in there, Lisa." In that moment, she realized Mr. Harris was no longer her only concern. Whatever had followed him now wore his voice, slithering into her mind. What deeper horrors would unfold as the darkness seeped into every crevice of her home? The line between desperation and madness was thinning. And with each breath, everything she held dear was slipping further away. Lisa pressed her back against the door, heart pounding violently against her chest like a trapped bird. The figure outside was a predator, patiently waiting, drawing strength from her fear. "I know you're in there, Lisa." The voice was syrupy sweet, yet carried an edge that hacked away at her sanity. "Mama, I'm scared," Ethan whimpered again, buried deeper into her side, small hand gripping hers tightly, knuckles white against the dark of the room. Stay quiet, she urged, the words spilling out in a panic. She didn't want to show them her fear, but the darkness gnawed at her resolve. Just then, a soft thud echoed against the door, followed by a sinister chuckle. "Open up," the voice pleaded, crooning like a lullaby gone wrong. It knew her name, knew her. Chills swept through her as she felt the air grow colder, the shadows tightening around her. She grit her teeth, her grip on the bat tightening, every nerve igniting with dread. The whispering continued, softer now, like a caress. "It won't hurt you, Lisa. Just let me in. You've invited me before, haven't you?" Jumbled memories poured into her mind, the past clashing with the present, a forgotten promise, careless laughter echoing late at night, the innocence of bedtime stories now twisted. She shook her head, trying to expel the growing fog, but it pressed in on her thoughts. "No!" she shouted, surprising even herself. Was she truly losing her mind? Another thud jolted her back to the moment. "Let us play, Lisa." The voice twisted from familiar into grotesque, morphing her memories into weapons against her. "Mia, Ethan, listen to me," she whispered harshly, lowering her voice. "We need to be very quiet. Do you hear me? No matter what happens, don't make a sound." They nodded, eyes wide with tears, the weight of their silence almost tangible in the thick air. The soft rhythm of her children's breaths punctuated the growing tension, and Lisa wanted to scream. How long could they hide? How long before the darkness found them? Suddenly, a shift in the air, and the whispering filtered back to life, swirling like smoke, lingering in her ears. "You should have stayed, Lisa. Remember how it felt? The warmth, the joy?" With every word spoken, memories flickered like lights in her mind. The laughter around the kitchen table, stories of heroes and dreams. She gritted her teeth, pushing back every reminiscence, trying to lure her in. Bang! The door rattled, and her heart dropped with it. "I'm not afraid of you," she yelled, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her. A low growl, almost a sigh, reached her ears in response. "You will be." Darkness swirled, crawling through the cracks of her resolve. Lisa stepped back, stumbling over the threshold. Shadows darted along the walls, warping into impossible shapes. She turned her bat around, grasping the weight of it, and summoned all her courage. "Mia! Ethan!" she cried, her voice slicing through the choking atmosphere. "Get ready." Just as she prepared to confront the threat lurking beyond, a jarring crash echoed through the house, rattling the very bones of the walls, causing the floor to vibrate beneath her feet. Her breath caught, and a wave of dread washed over her. From the shadows, a sharp laugh cut through, impish, mocking, unfurling into the room like a fog. "Here I come, Lisa." The figure loomed again, and a glint of something sharp reflected off the dim light as it slithered through the doorframe. Lisa's heart raced. She wasn't just battling darkness, she was challenged by something far worse. What if the monster was already in? What if it wore the face of someone she had trusted? As the door creaked open wider, revealing only more shadows, she realized the real horror lay not outside but within, in the depths of her own mind. What unknowable terror awaited her next? The line between reality and nightmare had been crossed, and now there was no turning back. The door parted slowly, almost delicately, as if the very air around it held its breath. Shadows pooled at Lisa's feet, creeping forward with sinister intent. She clutched the bat tighter, knuckles going white, fighting the instinct to flee. The voice lingered, wrapping around her like ivy, pulling her back toward the memories she thought were buried. "Mama, what's happening?" Ethan's tiny voice quivered, piercing through the thick fog of foreboding. A moment passed, heavy and stagnant, before a figure emerged from the darkness, its shape distorted, limbs bending in ways they shouldn't. "Ethan, stay close," Lisa whispered, all the while staring into the void as it seemed to twist and turn, revealing jagged edges like the teeth of a beast eager for its prey. The laughter grew louder, submerged in a chorus of whispers that slipped through the cracks of sanity. "You don't remember me, do you?" "But I remember you, Lisa. I was always here." You wanted me to stay. Her mind raced. The walls felt like they were closing in, setting traps of memories that could snare her soul. No. You don't exist. Her shout echoed through the empty space, defiance battling against the encroaching horror. With a sudden surge of adrenaline, Lisa lunged forward, swinging the bat at the unnatural silhouette. The sound of wood striking nothing but air left her breathless. The figure melted away, laughter swirling like autumn leaves. And then, a voice from the shadows whispered sweetly, "You'll let me in. You always do." A chill ran down her spine. She could almost see flickers of light playing off the walls, a play of nostalgia that felt like sharp daggers instead of warmth. She saw snippets of childhood, birthday parties, and innocent dreams that bitter sweetness twisted sharply into a knife of despair. "Mama!" Mia's small voice broke through the fog, and Lisa turned to see her daughter, pale and frightened, her wide eyes full of shock. "Stay with me, Mia. Don't wander off." Lisa grabbed Mia's hand, their connection more vital than the air they breathed. But something was wrong. The floor was shifting beneath them, frantic shadows pulsating, almost alive with a hunger that made her skin crawl. Without noticing, she began to step back, dragging Mia with her. Suddenly, Ethan pulled at her sleeve. "Look!" He pointed to the space beyond the door. The darkness seemed to swirl, condensing into shapes, faces of lost friends, family members, all twisted in expressions of sorrow, beckoning with outstretched hands. "Leave them alone!" Lisa screamed, thrusting the bat toward them, her heart racing furiously against the encroaching dread. The faces morphed, twisting into a ghastly grin, as if feeding on her panic. "Lisa, let us play," the voice echoed through the damp air again, sinister and all-consuming. It was a game she didn't want to join, a game of trust, betrayal, and heartache. "Run! We need to get out!" she yelled, yanking her children forward with iron resolve. But the house fought back, doors slamming shut as if the very foundation wanted to keep them inside. The laughter was relentless, rippling through the air like a taunt. A moment of silence engulfed them, bruised with tension. It felt as though the world had paused, waiting to see if hope would continue to flicker or if darkness would snuff it out completely. "What's happening?" Mia gasped, her innocent voice breaking Lisa's concentration. "Just keep moving," Lisa urged, her heart pounding louder than any thunderstorm, drowning out all rational thought. They stumbled through the living room, their path illuminated only by flickering shadows. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw something creeping, writhing in the edge of the light, a shadow with intent. They dashed down the hall, but time slipped, the space stretching impossibly. With each step, the walls seemed to close in tighter, suffocating them. "Where do we go?" Ethan cried before breaking down in sobs. In that moment, a realization dawned upon her. The real trap was not the darkness outside but the memories, the guilt, the choices that had drawn this thing into their lives. They had to face it. They had to confront the shadows of the past. As Lisa turned to face the emerging figure from the shadows, determination surged within her, an ember against the chill. They weren't just running, they were reclaiming what they had lost. But something shifted in the darkness, a deeper threat lurking just beyond reach. A shriek erupted from the figure, elongating into a sound that made her blood run cold. What awaited her beyond the veil of memory and fear? The scream echoed, and she recognized it not just as terror, but as an invitation, a warning of what lay ahead. What if letting go was as dangerous as holding on? The true horror was yet to come. Lisa felt the air thicken around them, heavy like a suffocating blanket. With every passing second, the home's heartbeat pulsed wildly, reverberating through the floorboards. "Can't breathe," she gasped, forcing herself to hold steady as she tightened her grip on Mia's hand. She had to appear strong, even when dread clawed at her insides. A chill rattled her bones, and the shadows shifted again, twisting into more defined forms. They swarmed like a swarm of flies around decay, filling the air with whispers, snippets of old conversations, a ghostly echo of fears long buried. Come play with us, we've been waiting. The facade of bravado began to crack. The children were terrified, and Lisa could feel their small bodies tremble beside her. We have to keep moving. She shouted more forcefully, pushing through the damp, suffocating air that felt almost alive. Thrumming with anticipation, she turned and stumbled backward, her foot catching on an uneven floorboard. She fell against Ethan, and they both tumbled onto the floor, the rafters above creaking ominously. Get up! Mia cried out, pulling at Lisa, a mix of fear and urgency pumping through her veins. As Lisa struggled to her feet, a sharp glint caught her eye. A solitary glass shard lay on the floor, reflecting a sliver of light amidst the surrounding darkness. Then she realized the windows. The front doors. They were all barricaded by that powerful, consuming shadow. It doesn't want us to leave. She blurted, breath hitching in her throat. Panic welled in her chest like an unrelenting tide. Where do we go? Ethan whimpered, tears streaming down his cheeks. It was the childlike fear that sent new shivers through her, igniting a protective fire she desperately needed. Upstairs! Lisa cried, forcing her voice to steady. The staircase loomed, its steps steep and sinister, each creak underfoot echoing like a funeral dirge. With kids in tow, she raced up, the dark engulfing them like ravenous flames licking higher. As they ascended, the laughter grew louder, invading the hollow space of their minds. You can't escape us. They echoed in tandem, a sick symphony resonating through the walls, each note drenching their resolve in icy despair. At the top of the stairs, Lisa pushed open a door to a small room. She felt a tinge of hope, perhaps an escape. But when she stepped inside, that air of possibility collapsed. The walls felt as if they breathed on their own, the corners warped and dripping with sadness. Tattered remnants of memories lingered, an old teddy bear, a picture frame with the glass smashed, her childhood room, stripped of innocence. Mama? Mia's voice cracked, her small frame vibrating with fear. What's happening? I don't know, Lisa whispered breathlessly, her heart hammering. She stepped deeper into the room, compelled by an unseen force, every instinct screaming to turn back. The chill clung tighter, the shadows now swirling around her like snakes hungry for her warmth. Then she saw it, a fleeting silhouette darting across the room. Fear slammed into her, dissolving her last shreds of courage. The figure paused at the door, eyes glowing like burning coals, peering through the veil of darkness. Playtime, Lisa, it sang, a melodic mockery wrapped in malice, each word oozing with maleficence. Lisa's world narrowed to that voice, that presence, forcing her to confront everything she had buried. Was this the thing she had tried so hard to forget, an echo from the past she had suppressed? Fighting against the swirl of terror, she turned back to her children, determination overtaking fear. We won, let it win. She screamed, hoisting the bat with unyielding strength. The shadows recoiled, but the figure surged forward, anger igniting its twisted features. As the shadow lunged, Lisa swung. The bat connected, but no sound followed, only silence. The children gasped, and an intense emptiness consumed the air. Was this it? Was the horror real, or just a manifestation of the darkness creeping inside her? A new voice filled the void, cold and wavering. You did this, Lisa. It's in you now. She froze, dread pooling in her stomach. Had she unleashed something even darker? The boundaries between memory and reality blurred, and panic ignited her mind. In that moment of terror, Lisa realized the real fight wasn't with the shadows of the house, but with the shadows in herself, deadlier and more relentless. As the room darkened further, she could feel it closing in. Could she battle both the monstrous memories and protect her children? The air thickened, leaving no room for doubt. The true horror was just beginning to unravel. What would they become when faced with the darkest corners of their souls? As the last flicker of light extinguished, so too did the hope of escape. Lisa's heart pounded as the shadows tightened around her, like a noose drawing ever closer. She glanced at Mia and Ethan, their wide eyes reflecting the chaos, the flickers of panicked movement revealing their internal turmoil. The dark figure loomed closer, and her resolve wavered. "Stay back!" Lisa barked, brandishing the bat like a tattered shield against the encroaching darkness. The words felt hollow against the oppressive weight that filled the room, laughter echoing like a sinister song festering in her mind. The child within her, the girl who once played in this room, felt lost amidst the chaos. This place, which once echoed with laughter and innocent joy, had turned into a tomb of regrets and buried fears. The flickering ghost of herself whispered memories long since dead. "Why did you come back?" it hauntingly asked. "Because I have to protect them," Lisa breathed, though the more she spoke, the less she believed it. The words clung like fog in her throat, heavy and paralyzing. Suddenly, the laughter ceased, replaced by an intense silence that pierced through the thick air. As every shadow flickered with anticipation, the glowing eyes approached her. The figure drew closer, and Lisa finally caught a glimpse of its face, twisted in a warped smile. It was a reflection of her own worst fears, the guilt, the sorrow, the failures she buried beneath a facade of strength. "No!" she gasped, stepping back. "I want to let you take them." Mia and Ethan shrank against the wall, frozen in fear. Lisa needed to act. "We need to find a way out," she shouted, redirecting her terror into purpose. The room, with its warped edges and oppressive aura, felt relentlessly alive, as if every creak of the walls fed the sinister energy around them. "Look!" Mia whispered, pointing toward a door obscured in shadow at the far side of the room. It had been there all along, a lurking opportunity amidst the horror. With renewed courage, Lisa gripped the bat tighter and rushed toward the door, the shadows swirling furiously behind her. "Follow me," she urged, pushing Mia and Ethan in front of her. They stumbled forward, their small feet pounding against the wooden floor, but the figure was relentless, chasing them with a hungry wail that twisted through their veins. The door creaked open, revealing darkness beyond, an abyss that beckoned. Lisa paused. "We can't just jump in there," doubt pooled in her heart, but the figure's laughter boomed behind them, echoing their own fears. They had no choice. Trembling, Lisa took a step into the unknown. The air shifted, colder and thicker, surrounding them like tendrils of ice. Drawing the children with her, she plunged into the inky blackness, feeling the weight of despair pressing against her shoulders. Inside, they stumbled upon a corridor, the walls pulsating as if alive. Faint whispers danced at the edges of their hearing. "You don't belong here, you can't escape." It was all around, clawing at their minds, wrapping around their sanity like glittering barbed wire. She gripped Mia's hand tighter, feeling the small tremors rattle through the child. Panic surged through her veins. "We have to move. Keep moving." They pressed on until the corridor opened into a vast room filled with mirrors. Each reflection twisted into grotesque versions of themselves. Lisa couldn't catch her breath. Every visage taunted her, a darkness hovered, laughing at her, trapping her in a relentless nightmare. "Mama, I don't like this," Ethan cried, his voice shattered against the glass walls. The room warped and shifted, closing in, the mirrors reflecting shadows that danced mischievously. "You are never getting out," they jeered, voices merging into a cacophony that blared like sirens in her head. "No!" she screamed, and swung the bat again against the reflective surface. But the glass remained unscathed. Her efforts only rippled through her and the children's reflections, forcing them to stare at the horror they thought was behind them. As the whispers grew louder, drowning out thoughts of escape, laughter melded into a song, one she recognized from her own childhood. It was a lullaby sung from a long-gone mother, twisted by bitterness, signifying chains of the past she couldn't break. "I want to allow you to take my kids," she cried with desperation, but the words morphed, echoing back to her, layered with shame. The mirrors warped grotesquely, her reflection screaming. What if it was all true? What if she was the monster in their story? Suddenly, a crack resounded. One mirror shattered, light spilling through, illuminating a path. Hope flickered in her chest. "Over there. We can break through," She shouted, but as they moved, the other mirrors began to crack, the shadows inside shrieking, thrashing violently. Would they make it? Would the past take them down with it? In their frantic rush, they didn't see the hand reaching out, snatching Mia back, laughter echoing in the chaos. Playtime isn't over yet. And at that moment, as Lisa looked back, eyes wild with dread, she realized the darkness was not just in the house but had always lived deep within her. Could she face it, or would it consume every last light they had left? The shattering glass echoed like thunder in Lisa's ears. Mia was gone. One moment she had been there, hand clenched tightly in Lisa's, and the next she was wrenched away by the sinister shadows. An icy grip clutched at Lisa's heart. She turned back to the mirror, where she saw Mia, wide-eyed and terrified, staring back at her from the other side of the fractured glass. Mia. Ethan's little voice cracked as he reached for his sister, but Lisa grabbed his arm. No. We have to keep moving. The shadows pulsed with energy, swirling around them, a tapestry woven from memories of pain and regret. Lisa's breath came in ragged gasps, the air felt thick and oppressive. We have to find a way to get her back. She shouted, though uncertainty gnawed at her. Each flicker of darkness seemed to echo her own insecurities, the mirrors flashed images of her failures, every decision, every betrayal. They painted horrifying scenes of a past she wanted to forget. Horror bubbled in her throat as one reflection showed her, alone and broken, a mother who had abandoned her children in their time of need. A distorted laugh echoed. No. This is just a trick. She yelled at the mirrors. Desperation coursed through her, turning her skin cold. But amid the turmoil, a spark of fire ignited. She couldn't let this fear win again. Ethan, hold on to me. She commanded, tightening her grip around the boy's shoulder. We're going to break those shadows. We're getting Mia back. They rushed towards the crumbling wall of glass. Lisa raised the bat, the weight of it grounding her in the present. With her heart racing, she swung it with all her might. The bat connected with a mirror, and for a split second, nothing happened. Then came the surge of energy, a pulse that shot through the air, and the surface rippled like water. The laughter behind them morphed into wails of anger, flinging itself at them with chilling force. Keep going. Lisa shouted again, her voice steady despite the mounting dread. We can do this. They pressed on, swinging wildly at the glass that seemed to close around them, suffocating the air with echoes of past mistakes. Mirror after mirror shattered, revealing glimpses of a sprawling void beyond, dark and yawning, always deeper than the last, but Mia remained trapped, her little hands pressing helplessly against the glass, as if she could touch the world outside. Lisa's heart felt like it was being ripped apart. Mia. We're coming. We won't leave you. Those panicked cries fueled their frenzy. Lisa broke another mirror, and a gust of wind pushed them backward. Shadows lashed out, grabbing at them with tendrils of darkness. They were trying to weave webs of despair, and Lisa could feel it tugging at her, pulling her toward the ground. But she stood firm, and just as despair threatened to drown her, she blinked. In that moment, a flicker of light broke through, faint but bright enough to shatter the choking darkness. Ethan, run! She shouted. Run toward the light. The boy didn't hesitate. He sprinted toward the glowing fissure, his tiny heart racing with a mixture of fear and determination. Lisa followed, fighting against the dark shadows clawing at her back, but something uncoiled behind her, a presence cold and familiar, whispering promises of safety if she just gave in. Come home, Lisa, it called to her, dripping with malice. You've never left, no. She roared. She was not that girl anymore, not the one haunted by the ghost of her former self. The light grew stronger as they reached it. Lisa grasped Ethan's hand tightly, the warmth of his small fingers pushing away the frigid grasp of despair. They dove through the crack, tumbling into what felt like a spinning void, a tempest of light and shadow swirling around them. Then, silence pressed down like a heavy blanket, and they landed unceremoniously on a cold wooden floor. Where are we? Ethan whispered, scanning their surroundings. Lisa shot up, scanning for Mia. The room looked familiar, a bedroom. But where was the little girl? The air was thick with tension, the remnants of laughter hanging in the space like an uninvited guest, waiting for its next victim. Mia! She cried, and the echoes came back, taunting her, but then, in the far corner, she saw movement, a blurred silhouette creeping into sight. Mia? She held her breath, fear clawing at her guts. The figure stopped, head tilting. Was it Mia, or something much worse? Suddenly, a voice came from the darkness, smooth and chilling. "Hello, Lisa, I've been waiting." Lisa's heart lurched. Who was this? What did they want? In that moment, dread poured over her, and as the figure stepped into the light, lips twisted into a smile. Would they truly escape, or had they just walked deeper into the trap? The figure emerged, and Lisa's breath hitched in her throat. The face was familiar yet twisted, a haunting reminder of someone she once knew. It was her sister, Kate, but not the loving sibling she'd grown up with. This version wore a mask of malice, eyes glinting like shards of glass in the dim light. "Kate?" Lisa whispered, dread creeping into her voice. "What happened to you?" "Oh, sweet sister," Kate cooed, her voice dripping with sickly sweetness. "I've always been here, Haven Ti. Just waiting for you to join me." The wood floor creaked beneath Lisa's feet, and the memories surged through her mind, stripping her of courage. All those years of guilt and regret came crashing back. She had chosen to leave, to escape the family burden. Kate had never forgiven her for that decision. "Where's Mia?" Lisa spat, anger igniting her fading courage. Kate's smile widened, revealing teeth too sharp, too perfect. "Mia's mine now. She's safe with me." A chill ran through Lisa, a cold fear grabbing her heart. "You're lying." "No, Lisa. You're the liar," Kate stated, stepping closer, shadows swirling around her feet, twisting like serpents. "You stole her from me, just like you stole everything else. Families can be torn apart, but they can also be brought back together." Ethan shrank behind Lisa, his small hands clutching her shirt as he peered around her, wide-eyed and terrified. Whatever this was, it was shaping into a nightmare. "Stay behind me, Ethan," Lisa whispered fiercely, her mind racing. She couldn't lose Mia, and she wouldn't let this twisted version of Kate manipulate her any further. She raised the bat defensively. "Let her go." "Oh, what a charming sentiment," Kate mocked, crossing her arms. "But can you even begin to understand the depth of the darkness that surrounds us? It feeds on your love, your regrets, your fears." She stepped into a patch of light, and the shadows retreated, revealing her clearer. Her hair hung like a shroud around her face, and her eyes glinted with something cruel and ancient. "I know what you did," Lisa shot back, her voice stronger than she felt. "You're not the one in control here." "Are you sure?" "Because from where I stand, it looks like I have the upper hand." Kate's expression hardened, a predatory gleam in her eye. "Do you want to see her, Lisa? Do you want to see what I've done for her?" The air shifted, and almost as if by magnetic pull, a mirror appeared behind Kate, its surface rippling like a disturbed lake. Inside, a shadowy figure obliterated the light surrounding it. "Mia! Mia!" Lisa cried, her heart sinking. The little girl pressed her tiny hands against the cold glass, her face marred with fear yet glimmering with hope. "Help me, Lisa." Mia's voice sounded muffled yet clear. "I'm scared." "No." Kate hissed. The atmosphere thickened, and the shadows writhed, growing thicker around Kate's form. "Give in. It's better this way." Lisa shook her head, determination boiling in her veins. "You're wrong, Kate. I want to let you take my daughter." Ethan, emboldened by Lisa's words, pushed forward. "Let her go. You're not our family anymore." His voice rang like a bell, cutting through the tension. Kate's smile faltered for just a heartbeat, and in that moment, Lisa lunged. With all her strength, she swung the bat toward the mirror, intending to shatter the hold Kate had over Mia. The bat collided with the glass, and a crack splintered across the surface. A shrill scream erupted from Kate as the shadows screeched like banshees, sucking at Lisa's strength. Still, the crack in the mirror widened, exposing writhing darkness beyond. "No!" Kate howled. "You don't know what you're unleashing." Lisa felt the surge of power and fear wash over her as the shadows billowed, swirling around her like a storm. "Get Mia!" Lisa yelled, but just as she felt the grip of despair loosen, the ground beneath them trembled. Suddenly, the floor began to crack, the room threatening to collapse into the abyss below. "What have you done?" Kate howled, desperation twisting her features. Lisa grabbed Ethan's hand. She couldn't back down now. "Stay close to me." They raced toward the dark mirror, Mia's hand still outstretched, her voice growing fainter. "Mom! Don't leave me." But as they neared, the darkness pressed in, and Kate's figure loomed larger, blocking their escape as the room began to dissolve around them. Would they break through together, or would they be swallowed by the darkness that had taken so much already? A shiver ran down Lisa's spine, as she realized, the shadows weren't just trying to take Mia, they wanted to take her, too. Would they make it, or would they all be lost to the void? Lisa's heart raced as they dashed towards the crumbling mirror. Shadows whipped around them, wild and chaotic, but within that storm, a fierce resolve flickered alive. "We have to break through," she shouted, urging Ethan forward. As they closed the distance, the reflection of Mia shimmered, her small hands clawing helplessly at the glass. "Mom! Help me!" Her voice trembled with terror, each plea wrapped in desperation, resonating like a drumbeat in Lisa's heart. "Hold on, baby. We're coming." Lisa's voice burned with determination. But as the shadows twisted, the dark figure of Kate loomed larger, her smile a wicked crescent of malice that sent shivers crawling across Lisa's skin. "Foolish girl." Kate sneered, raising her hands as if conjuring the abyss. "You think you can escape? This is where you belong." A wave of dark energy erupted from her, and the room convulsed, cracking and groaning as though it were alive. Lisa felt the ground shift beneath her feet, pulling away from her like quicksand. "Ethan!" she yelled, pulling him closer, their fingers gripping tight. "We've got to stick together." They lunged for the mirror. With every ounce of strength, she swung the bat again. It hit the glass with a resounding crack, and a fissure spread like lightning, brightening the air for a moment. The shadows shrieked, twisting to evade the light. "Keep going," Lisa called out, adrenaline surging as she felt that flicker of hope ignite. The darkness recoiled, but Kate stepped closer, her own power spiraling outward. "You think a little light can save you?" Kate's voice was icy, a whisper in the back of their minds. "I am your past. You cannot escape me." Lisa, breathing hard, glared at her sister. "You're wrong. We are stronger together." With that, she pushed forward, guiding Ethan toward the fracture. "Mia! Hold on." Just then, a jagged crack split the mirror wider, and fragmented light spilled over the room. Their reflections in the shards were wild, frantic expressions bent on escape. "Mama, please." Mia's cry wedged into her heart like a thorn. "Get ready," Lisa shouted. She felt the shadows clawing, pulling at her very essence, but she gritted her teeth, pushing through. 1, 2, 3. They sprinted towards the cracks, hope crystallizing in their hearts. Lisa swung the bat one last time, driving it into the mirror's shatter point. It splintered beautifully, echoes of glass cascading like fireworks. "Mom! Don't leave me." Mia's eyes glimmered with tears, and Lisa's heart clenched. With a burst of courage, they dove through the cracks, a kaleidoscope of colors and light flooding around them like a cleansing tide. As they fell through, Lisa felt a rush of warmth envelop them, tethering them to safety. They landed unceremoniously on a cool floor, the echoes of darkness lingering, but something shifted. The walls were now warm and inviting, bathed in golden light. Lisa gasped, eyes darting around. They were in a familiar room, the one from years ago. Her childhood bedroom. "Mia!" she cried, scrambling to her feet. And there was her daughter, sitting safely on the bed, relief washing her face as she ran into Lisa's open arms. "You found me." "Of course, I did." Lisa sobbed, hugging Mia tightly, feeling the warmth of her child's small body, grounding her once more. Ethan wrapped his arms around both of them, a sense of safety enveloping them like the embrace of light. "We made it!" he exclaimed, his eyes shining with triumph, but shadows lurked at the edges of the room, a reminder of the battle they had fought. The weight of the memories lingered, a testament to the struggles that had tried to consume them. Lisa turned, heart heavy but resolute. "We won. Let it go," she vowed quietly. "No more running. We will face this together." The room seemed to hum with agreement, the shadows receding as if acknowledging the strength of their unity. The past would not diminish who they were now. "Together," Mia echoed. "Always together," Lisa whispered, her heart swelling with fierce love. As they embraced, the darkness twisted and writhed outside, but within those four walls, a sanctuary pulsed alive. They had faced the abyss, confronted their deepest fears, and emerged not only intact but unbreakable. With renewed strength, they began to rebuild the life that had been fractured, brick by brick, with laughter replacing whispers, and light pushing back the shadows. This time, they embraced their history, knowing they controlled their future. If this story touched your heart, you need to subscribe now. Hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss what comes next. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help our community grow. Flood the comments with your reactions. What did you think? Let's talk theories. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this epic conclusion. Support the channel now, your true fandom makes all the difference.